We're here to talk about a fundraiser that I started in August in support of the Lumara Grief and Bereavement Care Society. And I started it in memory of my good friend Quentin, who passed away last Christmas. Quentin was a close friend and neighbor. He and his wife Sarah moved into the neighborhood shortly after my wife and I moved into our place in Esquimalt. And we have children around the same age, so we shared a friendship around that. Quentin was a real fun-loving and caring and friendly and engaging guy. He was really smart, had a quick wit, and we liked to just sit around and joke around, talk about our lives and our families, and just have a nice time together. We started the Esquimalt Cocktail Society, which was a fun way to sort of schedule time for us to have social interaction with a group of fellows in the neighborhood. That was a lot of fun, and unfortunately, most of our time was centered around our kids and our families. And you're not going to find like photos of Quentin and I together, because we were always, oh, the kids are doing something funny, so you take a picture of the kids, and I wish I had some of those. Quentin was diagnosed with glioblastoma in August. And my wife's a teacher, and Quentin's wife is also a teacher. And so I was at work, and Andrea, my wife, phoned to let me know that Quentin was in surgery to have brain surgery that day. He had been having some problems seeing, and they had just had their second daughter 3 weeks earlier. And he sort of chalked it up to sleep deprivation and just being worn out from having a new infant in the house. But he did go to the emergency room and then was immediately the next day put into surgery for a craniotomy. The first reaction that I had was shock. I mean, this was a 43-year-old, healthy, energetic guy. And then, when the shock sort of wore off, the sort of realist in me was curious about the disease. So I went and I looked at, the prognosis for someone with glioblastoma, which is not good, and that was difficult. It was kind of nice to be aware of what was maybe to come, but it didn't really prepare you for the disease. Quentin, he had his first diagnosis in August of 2019. He was really positive for a long period of time, actually most of the time that he was alive after his diagnosis, and was eager to get back to work and regain some of the aspects of his life that he had to put on pause while he recuperated from his initial surgery. Most of Quentin's struggle with the disease towards the later stages occurred during the pandemic. That was really difficult, I'm sure, for him and his family, but also for his loved ones and friends around. We couldn't, go over and see him. This part's hard. Or offer him, support for him and his family. So it really felt like we were, impotent to help out or provide meaningful support for them. As the disease progressed, he lost his mobility and his speech, and so every once in a while he would fall. He didn't have really control of his right leg, and so every once in a while I would get a call from his wife Sarah or Sarah's mom, because Quentin had fallen. And he was a big guy, taller than I am, probably around 200 pounds, and they can't lift him and get him up. So gave me the opportunity to go over and put my mask on and see Quentin and help him out, and give him a pat on the back and let him know that we're thinking of him, even though we didn't have the chance to see them all too often. He was always really hopeful that he was going to be able to continue treatment and maybe not beat the disease, but extend his life and quality of life. So they were very careful about making sure that he stayed healthy and didn't want to jeopardize any potential opportunities that he'd have for treatment. So I can understand the need to keep him safe and separate. Certainly it was really difficult though. Yeah, our families share a really close bond, and I'd love to be able to say that I have an understanding of how they're feeling and how they're doing. I know that it is a real struggle, but the fact of the matter is that I don't have that life experience that they do in terms of suffering a loss like that, which is where the Camp Kerry program really shines in establishing connections with peers who have suffered the same sort of trauma in order to be able to express that grief and not feel embarrassed or unique in your suffering and trauma. I think almost everybody knows somebody, a family or an individual who has gone through a tremendous loss, and I can't imagine the vacuum that would leave in a family, but I think there are support services that are available that can be tremendously helpful for people, and if we can provide that opportunity for some people, or provide awareness that they exist, then that would be that's the goal. On December the 4th, I'm going to be rowing 100.3 kilometers on an indoor rowing machine. And if you'd like to support the project, you can either visit the website or come on down to Tyrannus on December the 4th and cheer on the rowers and make a donation on site. A couple of people have asked why rowing. Quentin was a rower in university, so that's a nice connection, but also my peer group are familiar with the rowing machine, and I wanted to choose something that they could connect with and understand the physical task and the mental tasks that I set out in front of me. The other question that people ask is why 100.3 kilometers, and that's just an homage to Quentin, who used to have his outgoing voicemail as "You've reached the Q," which was to fool people into thinking they'd phoned 100.3 the Q, the radio station. So that's why the 0.3. My individual fundraising goal when I started was $10,000. Since that time, I've been joined by another individual, Mike Reed, who's going to row 100 kilometers, as well as the team division. So our new goal is to raise $50,000 for the Lumara Grief and Bereavement Care Society, which is the equivalent of sending 100 kids to Camp Kerry. I chose the Lumara Grief and Bereavement Care Society with input from Quentin's wife, Sarah. Quentin's friends, family, and employers already made some very generous donations towards glioblastoma research and care. And the Camp Kerry program specifically was brought up to me by Sarah because it directly impacts the lives of children and families who have suffered loss, not just loss associated with glioblastoma or other cancers, but for any reason. Quentin and Sarah and their family continue to occupy a special place in our hearts, and I'm really honored to be able to do this in Quentin's honor and memory.